Welcome back, guys. With draft day approaching, in this video I'm breaking down my first 30 picks in the 2022 NBA draft. So let's get right into the video. With the first pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero. Although many people think the Magic will take Jabari Smith, I just can't see them passing up on Paolo. He plays the power forward position at 6'10", and he's an elite scorer, playmaker, and ball handler while not really having any weaknesses to his game. And overall, he has the playstyle to fit perfectly on any team that selects him, so if the Magic do end up taking him, they're getting a future superstar. Moving on to the second pick, OKC takes Jabari Smith. I could see Smith fitting great with the Thunder because he doesn't need the ball much to be effective, and he'd help space out the court for Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to make plays. On offense, he's probably the best shooter in this year's draft from the three-point line and on mid-range shots, and his defense is top tier. For the Thunder, he'd bring some much needed rim protection and shooting to the team, and he has unlimited potential. At the third pick, I have the Houston Rockets selecting Chet Holmgren. Now the Rockets desperately want Paolo, but if he's taken earlier, they won't be complaining about getting Chet. He's probably the biggest question mark in this year's draft class because no one knows if his game will translate well in the NBA, but he has so much upside because he stands at 7 feet tall and can shoot, dribble, and is also a rim protector on defense. For the fourth pick, the Kings select Jaden Ivey from Purdue. The Kings have a choice to make between Keegan Murray and Shaedon Sharpe too, but I think they go with Ivey because his playstyle would pair well with De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt. The biggest strength in his game is his athleticism, but he's also a knockdown three-point shooter, and in the NBA, he'll be able to score in a lot of ways. And adding Ivey to their roster could potentially make them a very good team next year. With the fifth pick, the Pistons select Shaedon Sharpe. They got a great point guard in Cade Cunningham last year, and getting Shaedon Sharpe would create an amazing duo for them to build around. Sharpe doesn't need the ball too much to create his shots, and having Cunningham making plays for him would lead to a ton of offense. And he is said to have a 49-inch vertical, so he's able to jump with anyone, and his shooting was also a strength to his game during high school. But obviously the risk with taking him is he didn't ever play a game in college. However, I do think they'll still end up taking him because of his potential. With the next pick, the Indiana Pacers select Keegan Murray. I see a lot of people saying Dyson Daniels should go number 6, but I completely disagree. Indiana already has a ton of guards on their roster. What they need is a forward, and adding Keegan Murray to their team would give them a big time scorer that also has good size at his position. And he averaged 24 points in the Big Ten this past year, and I think he can bring that same kind of offense into the NBA. For the 7th pick in the draft, the Trailblazers select Ben Mathurin from Arizona. Portland still has Dame, but after trading away CJ McCollum, they could use a shooting guard. So I think Mathurin is the best option for them because he's another guard that has elite athleticism and a nice outside shot. And if he's able to bring these types of plays to their team, he's going to be a big help for them. At number 8, the Pelicans go with AJ Griffin. New Orleans has a really solid team all around, but I think they'll take a shooting guard because they're able to slide CJ McCollum over to the 1 spot, and they can play Griffin more at the 2. They could also have AJ come off the bench, but either way he brings solid defense and a lot of three-point shooting to a team that really values these skills. The Spurs select Jalen Duren at number 9. I can't see them going with anyone else here because they desperately need another center, and I think Duren is the best at the 5 spot. At 6'11", he is super athletic and he's a perfect player for DeJounte Murray to use in pick and rolls. He dunks almost everything and was very effective scoring off lobs and also offensive rebounds for Memphis in college. And I honestly think he might be the biggest steal in this year's draft. With the next pick, the Wizards select Dyson Daniels. It's possible he'll go sooner in the draft, but if he doesn't, Washington would be ecstatic to get him at number 10. Their team is in need of a playmaking point guard to add to their roster of scorers, and that's exactly what Dyson would bring. He's also a great defender, and he's shown improvement on his shooting towards the end of this year's season, so I think he would be a great pickup for them. The Knicks make their selection with Johnny Davis at number 11. The Knicks are looking for a guard, and I think they'll take Davis, who is a good spot-up shooter and a very good defender. He also has a winning impact on teams, and he won the Big Ten Player of the Year playing for Wisconsin this past season. And I think he could fit well in the Knicks because they could use a player like him that's very well-rounded, and he's able to contribute in a lot of different ways. On to number 12, the Thunder take Ousmane Dieng with their second pick. Dieng would be the perfect player to add because he's another young player that has a lot of upside and he has plenty of time to develop. He stands at 6'10", but is capable of playing the positions 2 through 4 while being a do-it-all kind of player. He can shoot, dribble, pass, and he has good athleticism. So as long as OKC works with him, he can be a very special player in the future. I have Charlotte taking Jeremy Sohan at number 13. The Hornets have a ton of offense on their team, but drafting Sochan would fix a major issue in their defense. At 6'8", he's big enough to defend centers and he's fast enough to lock down guards. And he might be the best defender in this year's draft class, so he would be a big addition to Charlotte. With the 14th pick, Cleveland takes Ochai Agbaji. The Cavaliers are in need of another wing player, and I think Agbaji is the best at this spot. He's a great three-point shooter and his athleticism is off the charts. But the reason I think he doesn't go top 10 is he's already 22 and most teams want a player to work with. However, the Cavs are ready to win now, and getting someone that can come in and make an impact right away is what they need. Moving on to the 15th pick, Charlotte makes their second selection with Mark Williams from Duke. During his time in college, he showcased his ability to be a rim runner, lob threat, and defender, which is exactly the kind of player the Hornets are looking for to pair with their quick guards. And adding both Sochan and Williams to their team would definitely make them more balanced on both sides of the court. With the 16th pick, I think the Atlanta Hawks will take Tari Eason. He's the type of player that has a ton of potential, and the Hawks would be able to use him in a lot of different ways because of how versatile he is. He's super athletic and he plays great defense while also being pretty skilled on offense. And even though Atlanta has John Collins, they could use Eason more at the 3 spot because I don't think they should pass on him. Malachi Branham is selected by the Rockets at number 17. The Rockets have a young team, and getting Branham, who they can also develop, is perfect for them. And he would be another guy that is great on offense for them, but he would also help bring more defense to their backcourt group. The Rockets have a bright future ahead of them, and adding Chet and Malachi to their team would be some great additions. At 18, I have the Bulls selecting Nikola Jovic. Standing at 6'10", Jovic is a capable playmaker, scorer, and ball handler, and Chicago could use a player with his size and skill set, so I think they'll take him here. They are also in need of a center, but I think they'll take a chance with Jovic here and then choose a center later in the second round. Now on to pick number 19, the Minnesota Timberwolves take Ty Washington. Ty is a super fast point guard that excels on his mid-range shooting, his playmaking ability, and his drives to the basket. And Minnesota isn't in a huge need of any position either, so I think they take Ty here to develop and learn behind D'Angelo Russell. Then in a couple years, he could be their starting point guard. The Spurs make their second selection at number 20 with Jalen Williams. Williams is a high-level scorer at the shooting guard position, and I think he would fit nicely playing next to DeJounte Murray. At 6'5", he isn't too tall, but with a 7'2" wingspan, he has a lot of length and he scores well at the basket because of this. He also is very strong for his height, and with this size, he's able to body opposing guards. At number 21, the Denver Nuggets take Kendall Brown. When Denver's team is healthy, they have a chance to be very good, and I think getting a player like Brown would help them win close games because of his defense. He's super athletic, and he's mostly considered a top pick because of this, and at 6'8", he's capable of guarding every position. Although his skill set on offense isn't great yet, he has plenty of time to develop because he's only 19. With the 22nd pick, Memphis takes Jaden Hardy. He was once considered a top 5 pick because of how elite of a scorer he is, and getting him at this spot is a big pickup. There are some concerns with his consistency though, so I don't expect him to make a huge impact on their team right away, but having him learn behind Brooks and Bane would definitely give him time to develop. I have Dalen Terry being taken by the 76ers at 23. I'm not certain about this pick though because Philadelphia is trying to win now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they traded it away to receive a more experienced player. But if they don't end up doing this, Terry would be a good pickup because he's a 6'7" point guard that's very athletic and a pass-first kind of player. And with them having both Harden and Embiid on the same team, they wouldn't want to select someone that needs the ball a bunch. With the 24th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks take Blake Wesley from Notre Dame. Wesley is a 6'5" shooting guard that excels on offense. He's very quick, which helps him get to his spots and beat defenders to the rim. And I think the Bucks would be a great spot for him to land because adding another skilled guard to their backcourt would be a big addition to their offense. With the Spurs' third pick in the first round, they take EJ Liddell. San Antonio has a chance to get some great players in this year's draft, and EJ is another amazing player. He's able to score from all 3 levels on the court, and he's a good rim protector as well. The only concern I have with him as a player is he is a bit undersized for a forward, but with his elite skill set, I don't think this will be much of an issue for him. At the 26th pick, I have Dallas selecting Walker Kessler. He's a 7-foot center that averaged 4.6 blocks per game in college, and he's also a force around the basket. And the Mavs could use another center, so getting Kessler, who's an elite defender, is exactly what they need. At 27, I have Kennedy Chandler heading to Miami. He's a lightning fast guard that can score from everywhere, and he also does a good job of getting his teammates involved. And although most drafts have Chandler selected higher, I just don't think too many of the top teams are in need of another point guard, so I think he'd be best landing at the Heat because they'd be able to play him more. Next, with the 28th selection, the Warriors take Bryce McGowens. They aren't in need of any position right now, so I'd like to see them take McGowens, who's a quick guard with a ton of potential, and they can develop him behind Curry and Clay. And his playstyle reminds me a lot of Jordan Poole, so if they do end up taking him and working with him, they have a chance to have a great backcourt for a long time. The 29th pick, I think the Memphis Grizzlies will take Patrick Baldwin Jr. In my last mock draft, I also had him going to Memphis because I think his fit there would be perfect. Even though he did have some troubles with his consistency in college, he's an amazing three-point shooter, and at 6'9", his upside as a scorer is insane. And as long as the Grizzlies give him time to become more consistent, he has a bright future ahead of him in the NBA. Finally, with the last pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the OKC Thunder take Christian Koloko. Koloko stands at 7 feet tall, and on offense he's a lob threat and good in pick and rolls. Then on defense, with his 7'5" wingspan, he's an elite rim protector. I think he would fit well in OKC because him and Jabari paired together would give the team way better rim protection, and then on offense he'd be able to score in the paint off of passes from Giddey and Shea. Well, that'll do it for my 2022 NBA mock draft. Make sure to leave a comment about what you thought and what you would change in your draft. Thanks for watching.